Our final inductee into the 2014 National Corvette Museum Hall of Fame is Jerry Burton. Growing up in that great styling and horsepower era known as the 50s, it was easy for Jerry to develop a passion for everything automotive.
Jerry loves automobiles. He just loves autos. It doesn't really matter what kind, but his forte is Corvette. And my opinion is that it's not just the car. Jerry is a historian. And he just loves the people, the history, who made the car, how they made it, why they made it, what their background was.
He was working for Campbell Ewald. For nearly over 100 years, Chevrolet had Campbell Ewald as their ad agency. Jerry was the one that was interfacing with Chevrolet, and particularly on performance type vehicles. And as the story goes, he was the one that first came up with the Heartbeat of America proposal.
Heartbeat of America. Of course, the Corvette is the heartbeat of America, along with all the other Chevrolets. But the Corvette is an American icon, and I still think of it as the heartbeat of America. And thank you, Jerry, for that, because that was a wonderful, wonderful expression.
If you know this magazine, you know the work of Jerry Burton.
Well, I've been on Corvette for 20 years, and for a good chunk of that time, I've known Jerry Burton. He's been really an important part of the Corvette community. I remember from way back his work on Corvette Quarterly.
Corvette Quarterly, he was the editor of that fine Corvette magazine. In fact, probably one of the best specific car magazines ever put out.
Corvette Quarterly, we used to have this great publication, and one of the exciting things we would do every year for the new model year, we would go on like a little ride trip.
Get some GM internals, important people who are part of the Corvette team, along with some notable external folks, and we go to a really scenic part of the country, and we'd take a bunch of Corvettes, some really good writers, and we would drive cars in places that we didn't normally get to drive cars. And to be perfectly honest, our normal protocol inside General Motors is extremely conservative, and the way we test cars is extremely conservative. And I can't tell you any specifics, but we did things on those rides that would not have normally been permitted under the GM rules. So we had a great time, and we gained some great insights into the car, and then it always made for great reading in Corvette Quarterly.
This man, known and beloved to all Corvette enthusiasts, was a special friend to Jerry Burton.
Jerry, as we all know, as things progressed and as Zora got older, he became a very close friend of Zora's and Elfie's. And in fact, he really, in a way, took care of them a lot by helping out when they needed things.
I had been talking with Elfie at some length about having the biography done, and she was having trouble deciding who was actually going to do it. And I had said to her one day, I said, well, you know, Jerry is such a good writer, and he loves the two of you. Why don't you ask Jerry to do it? And she thought about it, and she said, no, that's a great idea.
We had a company come to us wanting to do a large, Corvette, big coffee table history book, and he was the first one that entered, our minds, like, who should we get to do this? It became the Corvette America Sports Car book, and Jerry was number one on our list of our recommendation of who should do that.
Not content to just record history, Jerry's been active in making it.
I remember when the Corvette Museum was just an idea, and it was a library and archives to save the history of the car. And I remember Dan having long conversations with Jerry, and he would say, we have to have Jerry involved in this, because he is the one that can write this, and along with all of the other people that stepped up to the plate to make this a reality. But Jerry brought so much insight into what we really should do as far as the writing and gathering and maintaining and finding out and pulling people out of the woodwork that would help us make this museum a reality and be what it is supposed to be.
The commitment that he made in his life's work to Corvette just transcends anything, because he was really a Corvette guy, is a Corvette guy. And he lived and worked and breathed it. He was the real deal. He is the real deal. The Corvette mystique he understood. And very few people had that firm grasp on that brand that Jerry Burton had.
And learned to appreciate his ability to put words in place that people would remember.
Well, a lot of people don't realize about Jerry, like a lot of people collect the Corvette catalogs, you know, over the years, you know, when we were working with Campbell Ewald, and he would write every word that was in there. You know, it was very creative, always going the extra to really, you know, put the poetry in there and describe the Corvette to its best ability in all the Corvette advertising and catalogs.
If you look at Jerry and the amount of material that he's written for Chevrolet and the magazine articles on Chevrolet and Corvette, the originator of the Heartbeat of America, which has become a theme that people even to this day remember, the fact that he managed and edited Corvette Quarterly, and then the fact that he wrote the consummate book on Zora and Elfie, he's written his way into the Corvette Museum Hall of Fame.
But what stands out mostly, I believe, is his love of the history of the car. He didn't just write the surface story.
He was more than expert. Jerry Burton was the conduit between design, Chevrolet itself, the brand he understood totally, and the consumer. So he was able to take all that information, put that into words that people understood, appreciated, and really, he was the heartbeat of America.
You think about people who are important in the Corvette world, and Jerry stands out as being a modern historian. If you look at the modern era of Corvettes, he's been at the forefront, the front and center of telling the story, sometimes behind the scenes, sometimes in front of the scenes, bringing the whole course, the whole scope of Corvette history to a new generation of Corvette fans. And for that reason, he is easily worthy of being in the Corvette Hall of Fame.
Our third inductee into the 2014 National Corvette Museum Hall of Fame, Jerry Burton.